we start on time.
Okay.
So as close to, we're 2 minutes late.
They'll miss the introductory piece. It's fine.
Yeah. So I want to give a little bit of intro anyway, because we've been off for 2 months, a little more even. And so I really want to welcome everybody back. Maybe I'll welcome again at the end. So for those who miss it, because I missed this. I miss seeing Professor Perellis and the rest of you as well, because, we were meeting every week at a certain point. And I hope to start it up again after the Chagim. This is kind of to wet your whistle a little bit. We get to go into the holiday season with some kind of inspiration with this new work, because it's something a little bit different. I don't know of another one, although maybe Hakham Yehonatan will tell us, Hakham Elazar, sorry. And so I'm excited to share this. And it's wonderful also, I think, to bring it in from the different communities, because you centered on the Spanish-speaking community. And so we're talking about it in an English-speaking community. I think that's also an important thing that we're bringing together and networking, and that. So I'm very excited to hear more about this, as I couldn't read most of it in Spanish. But I'm very excited to hear about it. And as always, I want to welcome back our co-host and our partners in this series of lectures is the Rabbi Arthur Schneier Program for International Affairs with Professor Ronnie Perellis from Yeshiva University. And again, right after the holidays, we're going to keep up and keep going. So please do look at the website for the different programs coming up and for membership, so you don't have to think about anything. And for anything else you want to do, we're excited to have you all as our partners, everybody who we can't see right now. Logistically, to remind you, because we've been off for a while, is your cameras and microphones are off right now. After Hakham Dr. Elazar will present, we will be very happy to have you all open your cameras so we can really have some interaction and have some questions, and we'll ask you to open your microphones at certain points. So I think that's enough for me. I will hand it over to Professor Perellis and enjoy. I'm looking forward.
Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back in the New York Wednesdays rhythm. And especially, it's a wonderful way to almost begin the year. We're almost at the beginning of the year with Hakham Elazar-DeMota, who I've had the honor and the pleasure of hearing some of his scholarship at conferences and some of his wonderful saxophone playing as well in the post-conference time. And he's a man really. First of all, he's a wonderful person to get to know, but really someone who is doing so much to keep alive and to revivify this Sephardic tradition in its multiplicity, from point of view of being a person, in the world, interested in so many things, at the same time deeply rooted in the tradition, in the minhag, in the halakha. And connecting those pieces is so wonderful. I am also personally very happy to have another Miamian on board here, and who again understands the way the networks connect. There are certain places in the world, nodes, where the currents of history and cultures and societies blend together and then go outwards. Miami is a modern place like that, but places like Amsterdam, places like Curacao, places like Livorno, these were all these nodes that connected all these different communities and these different worlds. And that I think is going to be reflected in this work of liturgy that Hakham Elazar-DeMota will be talking about today. I want to give a brief formal introduction to Hakham DeMota. Here we go. Dr. Hakham Yehonatan Elazar-DeMota was born in Miami. He comes from a long line of Sephardic families from Spain, Portugal, and North Africa, which established themselves in the Caribbean before migrating to the United States of America. He began his rabbinic education under Hakham Yosef Benarroch and received dayyanut ordination from Hakham Mordekhay Levi de Lopes. He is a certified shohet and mohel, serving as rabbi to the Sephardi community in the Dominican Republic. Apart from rabbinic studies, Hakham Elazar-DeMota has a master's degree in anthropology and religious studies from Florida International University and a PhD in international law from the University of Amsterdam. Hakham Elazar-DeMota is the author of numerous books and articles on Western Sephardic Jewry in multiple languages, I should point out, and it's my great honor to welcome him today. And please send your questions into the chat. We will have time for questions, and it's one of the great things about this format is that we get to hear from people from all over the world, and I know that there's great interest in this. So without any further ado, thank you. Baruch haba.
Greetings to everyone. Bienvenidos a todos. Beruchim habayim lekulam, lekulechem. I'm really honored and happy to present this work, Seder Berachot, Upizmonim, Orden de Bendiciones y Cancionero Sepharadi. This is a work that has been in preparation for about, I would say, 2 years. And I initially started working on it when I was living in the Netherlands. And I was thinking about my experiences in different parts of the Sephardi diaspora. In the last, I would say 20 years, I've lived in 6 different countries, and I've connected with the Jews in those places. And I started to notice a certain pattern when it comes to literature, and especially literature which has to do with social constructs. And I will explain a little bit later about that. But before, I would like to give thanks to the organizers of this event. I would like to also give a special shout out to my wife, because without her, I would have not been able to do this work. She did all of the formatting, the artwork, and for this book. So yeah, she's really important for this work. Why did I write this book? This is the first question that comes to my mind. One of the things that I noticed in traveling throughout Latin America and looking at the different literature that exists, I started to notice that most of the books that have been written in Spanish are either Chabad or Breslov, translated from English works and a few from Hebrew into Spanish. I didn't notice, and I didn't really find any Sephardic works in Spanish. Most Sephardic literature is in English or in Hebrew, or maybe French. If you go the Francophone speaking countries, you will find a lot of literature in French, but not that much in Spanish. And one of the things that I experienced in various communities is that Sephardic Jews in Latin America only know a few melodies or a few songs. When it comes to Shabbat or the Hagim, people sing the same music over and over. And most of these songs are either the new music that has come out of the state of Israel, the Zionist music. But when it comes to melodies and music that Sephardic Jews have sung throughout the diaspora for, I would say, decades or even centuries, people are ignorant to this music. And I found that to be very heartbreaking, because music is a very central and key element when it comes to identity construction. This is something that I learned in my studies in anthropology, reading the works of Claude Lévi-Strauss, who speaks about identity construction and the psychology of religion and how that functions on the individual and collective basis. And I thought to myself, if we are to construct or reconstruct a Sephardi identity, we need music. We need our people to know who they are by way of music. That way we connect the contemporary audience with the previous generations. And since I am of the Spanish-Portuguese community, I thought, why not make a Seder Berachot, or some people will call it Birichon, a book of blessings, which includes melodies, which includes the lyrics, I would say, better yet. And I've seen many other or similar books, but in English or in Hebrew or in French, but never in Spanish. And one of the only books that I saw in Spanish that let's say did a little bit of justice, but it was heavily Ashkenazi when it comes to the song choice for the book, was a book that Shavei Israel printed years ago, which is called Birchon, just like that. And so I said to myself, we need to make a book like this for the Sephardim who are in every part of the diaspora. And this book is very important because it is my attempt to reconstruct Sephardi identity after the Shoah. As many of you know, that after the Shoah, the Spanish-Portuguese Jewish community and the Greek Sephardic community were two of the most devastated communities. And as a result of that, our communities in the Western Hemisphere suffered heavily because we lacked Hachamim, we lacked the teachers to continue this tradition. So that created a lacuna wherein today, since the 1950s, many Sephardic communities have had to learn from Ashkenazi traditions. And now in the third generation, many Sephardim don't know anything about how their grandparents lived or what they sang on Shabbat or on other different holidays. And I would like to show you what the book looks like when you open it. So I'm going to share the screen here so that you can see what I have. And so when you open the book, this is what you're going to see. Orden de bendiciones y cancionero Sepharadi, in the order of blessings and Sephardi songbook. And it has the Hebrew, Seder Berachot, Ahabath Yehonatan. Ahabath Yehonatan, I chose this name because my name is Yehonatan, and Ahabath, the love of Yehonatan, which it's a play on words, of course, because in the book of Shemuel, we see that Yehonatan is the best friend of David, and David is a musician. And so Ahabath Yehonatan, this is my way of showing, as a musician, the love that I have towards the Jewish people. And this is one of my contributions, and this is my love to all of you. Here, scrolling down in the table of contents, just for you to have a bit of an idea. This is all in Spanish, of course, as I explained previously. We begin with the Kiddush for Shabbat evening, and then for the morning. And then we have Kiddush, the order of Kiddush for Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. And the text, the Nusach that I use for all of this is according to the Spanish-Portuguese tradition or the Western Sephardic tradition. And then after the Kiddush, we have on page 11, we begin the songs. So we have songs for Shabbat, songs for Birkat Hamazon, songs for Havdalah, Pesach, Simchat Torah, Purim, and then we have the blessings for the Megillat Purim, and we have Hanukkah, the blessings for the lighting on Hanukkah, and then at the end we have for the wedding services, blessings for the wedding, so both Erusin and Nisuin, and then for Berit Milah. And the last thing we have in the book is Tefilat Haderech. So those who are traveling by land or by sea, we have the blessing Rezo del Viajero. And I like to explain some of the challenges that I had in preparing this book were finding the right songs to put into this book, because of course, as we know, the Sephardi diaspora is very vast. That you have Jews in the Western Hemisphere, in the Caribbean, in South America, North America, and then we have Jews in the Mediterranean basin, in the Levant, in the Balkans, in North Africa, in the Middle East, Syria, Lebanon. And I wanted to do justice to, when it comes to the music, I wanted to do justice to all of these communities and include melodies or songs from many of these places. And that was one of the hardest things to do. And I've been, in my musical experience, working with different projects, whether it's Turkish music or Greek or Middle Eastern music or North African music and Caribbean music, all of these experiences as a musician has allowed me to compile music from different parts of the world and learn these melodies. And I wanted to do justice to all the communities, because this project is not the product of just one community, but of an entire Sephardi consciousness. That's how I will call it. And there are a lot of unpopular songs that most Sephardic Jews have no idea about. And I would like to sing a few of those songs in just a minute. And another difficult or challenging thing for this book was proper transliteration. As we know, Hebrew speakers or Semitic languages, when we translate or transliterate, writing the phonetics into another language, there are certain sounds that do not exist. So how do we create a system which will transmit those sounds and also distinguish from those that sound the same, like when you have het or chaf or kof and kaf? These are really challenging, and especially when it comes to the Spanish language. So I had to create a system to be able to transmit these Semitic sounds in the Hebrew and also in the Spanish, Judeo-Spanish tradition, to translate those sounds into a system for phonetics in Spanish. That was a challenge. And there was a lot of editing going on with that. Another huge challenge was trying to put together the formatting for the Hebrew and the Latin texts, so the Romanized writing. Anyone who has done this type of work knows that this is very difficult, trying to organize both on the same page, and everything gets out of order. And no matter how much you try, it's very challenging. And my wife made a joke this morning saying, if you hate someone or if someone's your enemy, give them this work to do. and I had to laugh about that because it's really difficult. Another significant note about this book is whenever the holy name is written for Hashem, we do not write the 4 letters, we write the 2 yods to denote the holy name, so in the blessings. However, the name Elohim, the name for God, is written completely in Hebrew. So with that known, according to halakha, that constitutes one of the 7 holy names in Hebrew. So this book acquires a level of kedusha. So that means you cannot use this book in the bathroom or in any place where it's not supposed to be read, and it should be treated as you would treat a sidur or seder barachot or seder tefilot. Another interesting thing that I did with this book is when I finished it, I made a playlist on YouTube on my music channel, and that playlist includes all of the songs that are in the book. So for those people who have no idea what some of these songs sound like, they will have the opportunity to go into the link. I believe that it was shared in an email, and the link. And if not, You can search for my name, just Yehonatan Elazar on YouTube, and you will find the playlist Cancionero Sepharadi. And all of these songs are there, including the Kiddush, including the wedding songs, and for all the Hagim. And I have some of my own renditions of these songs from my previous released singles, which are also part of that playlist.
Yeah, I'll be sure to send it out with the follow-up email, just in case people didn't see it. You had a quick question if you want. So curious what was wrong with what already exists for the transliteration chet or kaf, or I'm not going to say it like you do. For example, one hopes, no. So the question is, what was wrong with original chet and kaf?
Okay, so in Spanish, there's no way to denote a difference between the letter het and the letter chaf. So one is aspirated, and the other is in the throat. And in Spanish, if we go throughout the Spanish diaspora, we will find some people who pronounce the letter J as a Hebrew chaf, very strong, a very guttural sound. And if you go to Andalusia in Spain, people pronounce the J very aspirated, like Arabic, like the ha. So trying to find a way to denote this difference is very challenging. And what I did in this book is the KH, to use the Russian, is the hard chaf sound. And the J then is the sound for het, which is softer. So that's what I did in this book. That way, in order to instruct the reader in how to make these differences in sound, because part of the Sephardi tradition is pronouncing Hebrew properly. That's what I learned from my teachers. And so, continuing, some of the unpopular melodies in the book that people don't know about are like Havdalah music. I'm going to sing some of these for you so that you can hear them. And after Havdalah, we have Ya vendrá el Señor in the Spanish-Portuguese tradition. In many places that I've been to, when we have Havdalah, no one sings this. Everybody knows Eliyahu and those different versions of Eliyahu, Hanabi, and everyone knows the Hebrew renditions, but no one or hardly ever knows Ya vendrá Señor. Ya vendrá Señor means the Lord is coming, and this is referring to Hashem and the Lord of salvation, which is referring to the Messianic era. And the lyrics I'm going to translate from Spanish. I'm gonna share with you the lyrics so you can follow with me. Here, just a moment. Here we go. Let's make it smaller so you can follow with me as I sing this. Ya vendrá el Señor translates, the Lord of redemption is coming to tell all of us, let's go to Zion. Good news, Beserot Tobot, good news we hope will come. Little by little, we will feel them, or we will experience them. Eliyahu Nabi will appear to announce to the children of Zion, from the four parts of the world, he will unite us. He will tell us, let's go to Jerusalem. And we will go up to Jerusalem singing a new song, a song of songs, going to Zion. In a little bit of time, it will happen that all of the dead will resurrect and all of the nations will rise to go to Zion to see the children of Zion. Soon will come Moshe, the faithful pastor. Because of his zechut, his merits, the manna came down. And now soon has come the time to rescue the children of Zion. This is a Havdalah song that the Spanish-Portuguese sing. And this is telling of the messianic redemption. Why do we sing this for Havdalah? We sing this for Havdalah because there's a tradition in the Gemara that the Mashiach will come if the entire children of Israel keep 2 Shabbatot. This is, of course, is a midrash in the Gemara, but this idea permeates throughout this song, and this is why it's part of Havdalah. So I'm going to sing this with you. Ya vendrá el Señor de la redención a decir a todos, vamos a Sion, Besorot Tobot, esperamos nos vendrá, a poco se sentirán, Eliyahu Hanabi se aparecerá para alviciar a hijos de Sion, para alviciar a hijos de Sion. De las 4 partes nos recogerá, a Jerusalén venir nos dirá, iremos diciendo nueva Shirá, cantar de los cantares que a Sion, de aquí un poco luego será, que a todos los muertos avivará, todas las humot se levantarán, para ir a ver hijos de Sion, para ir a ver hijos de Sion. Ya vendrá Moshe, el pastor Neemán, que por su zehut descendió el man, y ahora presto vendrá ese man, de resgatar a hijos de Sion, de resgatar a hijos de Sion. So that's this melody. It has a very bubbly, happy melody, and as I said, the lyrics are on point with the idea of the messianic redemption after Shabbat. Another unpopular tune, which I wanted to add in order to include the North African tradition, specifically from Morocco and Algeria. I added some Arabic in here as well, because that also forms part of the Sephardi diaspora. And I've never seen any Sephardic book in English or Spanish, including Arabic music. And I'm going to share with you, this is in the Shabbat section. And I didn't put the lyrics written in Arabic script for 2 reasons. One, most people don't know how to read Arabic script. And second, Jews didn't really use that script. They were writing Judeo-Arabic, so Hebrew characters, but Arabic words. And since this book is intended to help people to sing, I thought it would be too challenging to do that, to include it. So I wrote the transliteration for this. Anam Alif Yesh, for those of you from North Africa, I'm sure you know this, and it's from Al-Andalus, and I would just translate a little bit of this. So, ¿por qué preocupar por mi sustento? Why am I worried about my sustenance, my livelihood? Si está fuera de mis manos, solo el Creador proveerá. It is outside of my hands. The Creator will provide. He is the God. He is the God, and there is no other outside of Him to be God. I am a servant of the Lord. Él tiene el poder para transformar toda dificultad en facilidad. Everything that is difficult in my life, He is able to transform and change it and make it easy. Aunque esté muy débil, mi Señor todo lo puede. Even though I am weak or weakened, my Lord can do all of it. Y no me preocupo siendo mi fiel Señor que cuidará todo. I'm not worried because He will take care of all. Mi Señor, por favor, cuida de mí. My Lord, please take care of me. Fui meramente creado de una simiente. I was merely created from a seed. Él proclama quién será. He will proclaim who is. Él, alabado sea. He, blessed be He, es quien provee la conciencia. He gives consciousness. Solo Él decide a favor de su creación. Only He will take care of His creation, lo que será de ella, of what will be. Desde la oscuridad del vientre salí a una exposición de riquezas. from the darkness of the womb. I was exposed to great riches. Él me alimentó con su sustento y placeres. Él cubrió mi desnudez. He gave me to eat with his sustenance, and with pleasures he covered me. He covered my nakedness. This is what this song says. I'm not going to sing all of it, but I want you to hear what this sounds like. And this is a beautiful song that many groups sing throughout Morocco. And I'm going to sing it in two different ways. You're going to notice what I mean by that. أنا مالي فيش واشعل يميني نكلت من الرزق علاش وخلتني يزكني أنا مالي فيش واشعل يميني نكلت من الرزق علاش وخلتني يزكني الله 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 لا إله إلا الله أنا عبد ربي له قدرة يكون بها كل أمر هشيم الله 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 لا إله إلا الله أنا مالي فيش وش على يميني نكلك من الرزق علاش وخلاني يسكني الله 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 لا إله إلا الله. So that's North African. There was a change in the rhythm from 4/4 to 6/8, and that's the way this is sung in Al-Andalus, in that tradition. I love that song because it's the words are wonderful, especially in places where, in the Caribbean where I've been, where people, this is their prayer. This connects with them directly because they're people who have economic problems, or in some of the emergent Sephardic communities, this is the prayer that people sing. And I wanted to add this into this book so that they can see that there are Jews in other parts of the world who are also singing this and sharing their experience. Another unpopular melody, which is a very important Sephardic Birkat Hamazon song, which comes from the Levant, so Greeks and Turkey, is Yakomimos. Yakomimos, I haven't heard many people outside of those places singing this. And if we go to the United States or to the Caribbean, or even in Israel, where there's a large Sephardi diaspora, people have no idea about this song. And everywhere I go, I try to sing it, and people want to learn it. Everybody knows, almost everyone has heard Bendigamos. That's also in the book. Yakomimos is not very known, so I wanted to add it. And usually right at the end of Birkat Hamazon, what I will do is I will add this song. There are different melodies to it, but you're gonna hear my melody. And this version of Birkat Hamazon in Judeo-Spanish was composed specifically for children and women who don't know how to read the entire text. And if you read the lyrics, it includes everything that you need, all of the elements from Birkat Hamazon. Ya comimos y bebimos, we have drunk and we have eaten. Al Dios Santo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, bendecimos. To the holy God, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, we will bless. El Dios grande que manda el chico, the great God who takes care of the child, que nos dio y nos dará, who gave to us and will give to us, pan para comer, bread to eat, paños para vestir, clothing to wear, y muchos años para vivir, and many years to live, para nuestras casas y para nuestros hijos, for our homes and for our children, según que es menester, according to the need. Que nos oiga y nos responda. May he hear us and may he respond to us. Somos almicas sin pecado. We are small ants without sins. Hodula no nakitob, kilolam hasdo. Hodula no nakitob, kilolam hasdo. Siempre mejor, nunca peor. Always better. May we always have better and not worse. Que nunca nos manque la mesa del Creador. May we never lack the table of the Creator. Amen. That's what this says here. And the melody I usually sing here, after I sing Mashe Alchanu Yekele Soba, Mashe Shadinu Elikele Refua. So in the Spanish Portuguese tradition, and then Kila Olam Hazo. Oh, Adonai Kito, Kila Olam Hasdo. And then I go right into Yakomimo, si bebimos al Dios Santo, Baruch Baruch Shemo, bendecimos el Dios grande que mande al chico, que nos dio pan para comer, paños para vestir y muchos años para vivir, para nuestras casas y para nuestros hijos. Así que es menester que nos oiga y nos responda. Somos almicas sin pecado. Hodula nagitok, kile olam hasdo. Hodula nagitok, kile olam hasdo. Siempre mejor, nunca peor. Que nunca nos manque la mesa del Criador. Amen. That's usually how I sing this. And everywhere I go, people learn it in this way. I believe I've reached my time limit. It's 10:40. I could continue singing. I love to sing and to play music for you. And I would just say that for the section in the book on Sukkot, there are some melodies, some music which people don't know about. And I just want to show you. I'm not going to sing these songs, but you will see in the book, we have, let's see here, Amen, Amen Shem Norah, which is, this was composed in Suriname, so in South America, by the Spanish Portuguese that were living there. And I love this song because I'm thinking of making a version with a merengue or gaga rhythm, which comes from Haiti, and it's really festive. And this we sing this during the Hakafot, when we walk around with the Sefer Torah. Amen, 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 Shem Nora. So imagine this with a merengue or very Caribbean rhythm to this music and these lyrics. Also, Mi Piel, we sing this, Mi Piel, for Simchat Torah. But what people don't know is that there's a version in Judeo-Spanish. De boca del Dios, seamos bendichos todos los judíos. No hay santo como Adonai, y no hay piadoso como Ben Amram, y no hay encuadrada como nuestra ley, y no hay quien la mande como Israel. Mi piel, mi piel. This is what I did here in order to bring the Sephardi tradition back alive with the Spanish and Judeo-Spanish language. And so I hope that everyone has enjoyed the introduction to this book and this session. And thank you once again for having me here.
Wait, don't say thank you yet. We have questions now. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. There are so many questions out there.
That was beautiful. Wow. Wow. Wow, this is wonderful. Oh, wow, we have some great, okay, let's get some questions here.
So can I just ask the first one, because somebody else was saying it too. We know that Allah is used by Jews in Muslim lands and across the Muslim lands, but specifically the Shahada, like la Allah illallah, that's 100% in there. That's very thing to me.
La ilaha illallah, that's right. That's in there. That's yes. But it is true also in the Jewish tradition, the Islamic tradition. The Shahada is there, but Jews also share the same meaning because we're both monotheists. So that's Jews and Muslims sing this music together in Morocco, in the Andalus orchestras. So this is what's beautiful about this music and tradition as well. It's a way of bridging communities and throwing politics out of the window, as I would say.
Okay. Beryl, you had a question? Oh, sorry. No, you're on mute. Sorry. You don't look like Beryl.
Okay, you use non-standard Spanish spellings in various places.
Yes.
Like K for C and was años, I noticed, is not as it's spelled in standard.
Right. When it comes to the Judeo-Spanish songs, I try to use the standard writing according to the Ladino Academy. So when it comes to the ñ sound, it's a NY sound, exactly. And when it comes to the hard K sound, it's a K. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know Professor Perales, you wanted to say something, so I'll let you say.
No, I know that there are many other questions. I'm curious. We have some really, it's a wonderful collection of people here. Anyone, I'm not sure who would like to start with the question.
Well, I know Suzanne had a question, but for some reason she's not getting into our list here. But if you are here, Susan, please do open your.
Judith, we have Judith Cohen here who's spent a lifetime exploring this musical world, and it's wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about that other version that you mentioned in the chat?
Yeah, well, actually, Oro is here. So half of the group that recorded it is on this screen right now. And,
nice.
And of course, we've lost, unfortunately, the wonderful Soli Levi that sang it and taught it to us. So we actually recorded Oro. Did we do Ya Viene el Señor on Fiestas y Alegrías or the first one? I think the first one. I think it's on the CD, Me Voy a Capara. And then Mi Piel, I actually put the YouTube link in the chat of the revived Jerry Naldo, the last couple of years that Soli Levi was active with us. So you can actually catch that. And in both cases, Yehonatan, and thank you so much for the beautiful presentation. Como siempre, una delicia, una maravilla. Too much time since I've seen you in person.
Yes.
So both Ya Viene el Señor and Mi Piel, Soli taught us the refrain in Judeo-Spanish, but the rest of the song, all the strophes, all the stanzas are in Hebrew, in Mi Piel in the acrostic. So Ya Viene el Señor in the version he taught us, and if this weren't Zoom, it would be a lot easier for Oro to join in, but with Zoom, we have that horrible time lag. So just assume that, we're all there, and it's Ya viene el Señor de la remisión, ya viene el Señor de la remisión, a decir a todos, vámonos a Sion. And then each verse is the Hebrew, and then we come back with the Judeo-Spanish in the refrain. And Mi Piel works the same way.
Where does this version come from?
And then it goes, Me llevará Israel in Spanish, de boca de Dios, sea bendito Israel en Adir, and it goes on with Hebrew.
Yeah.
So that one you can go straight to. I can put up, I can make an unlisted YouTube and give you the link of Ya Viene el Señor. I don't think we have it in a video performance anywhere, do we? Or did we do it at the Alliance or in Paris? Can't remember. I don't think we did Ya Viene el Señor. We have it in our old musical theater, which is also not online anywhere, but Soli created musical theater, and you have Ya Viene el Señor, you have Tefillim for the birth of the child, you have Mi Piel, all these things, and he created, he created theater in which we were all like sort of playing ourselves several years ago. I mean, it's really complicated to explain, but all the songs fit in the actual context of where they would be sung in life. So but again, thank you.
Judith, if you wouldn't mind sending the link to me email, then I can share it with everybody, the one you shared in the chat, because it's hard sometimes for people to copy from the chat. I can send it out.
Sure, I'll send you any links.
Excellent. Okay, is Susan with us yet? I know she had. I'm missing it, sorry. Did you see, the people have been asking about the musical notations. There aren't any in the Birchon itself, correct?
No music, no, there are no music notations, only lyrics and phonetics, translation.
That's what I wrote.
That's another project.
But can I just interject there? It's very traditional in Jewish music not to have the notation included. And part of the reason, well, I mean, one of them is just practical. You describe the book as very small physically and being able to fit into your pocket, right?
That's right.
So if you start adding musical notation, then that's going to make it a lot bigger. But the other thing is, when I was doing my research for my master's, not my PhD in Sephardic music, but my master's in medieval music among Jewish women in medieval Spain and Christian, Muslim, and Jewish communities. Both Maimonides, the Rambam, and also in Arabic music, Al-Ghazali, said that music in the sense of singing, was most important for worship, and that it shouldn't be enclosed in the cage of musical notation. And you have to realize that when they were writing, music notation in the West was just in its infancy. It was being developed, and it was changing, every 10 years the system changed and adapted. So you needed real specialists, not only for writing in general, parchment and ink and so on, but specialists in notation. But while the Christians were busy making the wonderful system that we have, and which has preserved all this wonderful music, both the Muslims and the Jews, at least, sure, in real life, in daily life, they were singing everything. They had wedding songs, they had daily life songs, they had, whatever people always sing. But their spiritual leaders were saying you shouldn't enclose the outpouring of the soul. You shouldn't enclose this spiritual outpouring of the soul in the cage of musical notation. And as an ethnomusicologist, although I myself am secular, the problem with notation is that you read the notation and it does. It really, whether it's religious or spiritual or secular, it imprisons you in this notation, and you lose all the subtleties. So Yonatan, even when you were singing just now in this totally spontaneous, unpracticed way, there's all these little subtleties in your singing, and even more when you're preparing it and you're singing it in front of a congregation or in a concert or your saxophone playing, that you can't get in notation. You just can't do it. And so it's a lot better to have a link, for example, to your singing or the singing of the different communities, so that you can actually hear not only the actual text underlay and how each syllable goes with the music, but also all the little subtleties that you just can't write down. Like notation just doesn't.
All of his music, I learned all of his music by just hearing them and singing them with different communities.
Best way.
Just orally, The same way I play jazz music, I think it's the same language of improvisation. Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to mention, people have been asking again, I did put it into the chat that, and Hakham Elazar also mentioned it before, that there's a YouTube channel that he recorded everything from here. I'll send the link tomorrow as the follow-up to here. Just want to make sure that everybody hears that again.
I see that we have also the honor to have Rabbi Rode here, the Chazan from Shereth Israel.
Hi there.
He's looking.
Hey, my friend.
Hi.
Good to see
So
you.
I made my comment already. That I don't know. You said Amen Shem. With Amen Shem Nora, as you know, some things that end up in Amsterdam did come from the Caribbean originally, and then ended up there. I wasn't sure that Amen Shem Nora was one of those. You seem to think so. Is that what you were saying?
Because of the way it's sung has this feeling that's very Caribbean-like.
Yeah, like I said, Herman Salom I put it in the chat, he used to say that it's a contrafact of something like Ami Signora, rather than Amen Shem Nora. That's
very interesting.
That's what he used to say. I'm not sure. So I assumed that meant that he knew of some origin in Amsterdam, but putting that forward.
Can I weigh in on that? Sally also explained to us, and Jarinelda, is Oro still here? Because she can probably explain it better than I can. But that there was a Hebrew technique, a Sephardic poetic technique of taking words either from Hebrew or the vernacular. I mean, both, starting with the Hebrew or starting with the vernacular, and writing a new version that made it, say, spiritual in the case of going from the vernacular to Hebrew, but kept the actual vowel sounds pattern of the
Yeah.
original. So it was a really difficult, very complicated poetic technique. And I see Rabbi Yehonatan is smiling, so maybe you can explain it better than I can. But Sally, again, Sally Levi emphasized this so much that we just had it built in, and especially with Ya viene el Señor, viene Shem Norah specifically, yeah, as in Ya viene el Señor. And what's the article, Yehonatan, that great article in Studia Rosentaliana from years ago? There's a whole article on Ya viene el Señor with all the history and the stories behind it. Is it Chaim Salomon who wrote it? It's an old article. It's from like decades ago, but it's online now. The good news is
that also might have been Herman, but yeah, from Alav HaShalom.
But Drora, if you remind me, I'll dig it out and I'll find a link for it. For Drora, she's so used to making lists.
No, this is great, and
to send her. Can we have a shout out to Drora and all the wonderful work she does for this series? I mean, she's just so patient and good.
Well, we have to have a shout out because Dr. Cohen's going to be speaking for us next week too. So I'm very excited for next month. Sorry, not next week. Next month. Next week is Rosh Hashanah. Nobody's talking. So in 2 months, the month after. I do want to add.
Susan Cooper has a hand raised. I think. Oh, I'm sorry, Dora.
No, that's okay. Please.
Susan, I see Susan Cooper has her hand raised. Right?
Yeah. If you open your microphone.
Susan, do you have a question? You want to unmute yourself?
That's what I was trying before.
Okay, maybe she. Oh, tell me.
I do. I'm fascinated. As an Ashkenazi, I'm fascinated. You're opening a whole new world of Jewish music to me. But I wanted to bring up the subject of trop or ta'amim. There's an Ashkenazi, let's say just, for example, Torah reading. Merchativka munachet nata, merchativka so pasuk. That's an Ashkenazi interpretation of the way I learned it. But I know that there are Sephardi interpretations, and probably from the different parts of the Sephardi world, to the same ta'amim.
Right.
So, have you made a study of this? And if so, would you be willing to come back on for another session and talk to us about it?
Wow. Well, I can tell you, thank you for your question. I can tell you that I have not made an academic study of this, but I have taken notice of the different ways that the ta'amim are sung in different communities. Every Sephardic community has a different way of singing this according to the musical influence in the region, the geographical location. So Spanish Portuguese Jews have sing those ta'amim in one particular way. The Jews in Morocco have various different ways, depending if it's Spanish Morocco or in the south of Morocco. You also have in Syria different ways of singing it, in Iraq, and everyone has different ways of singing these ta'amim. So it's not there's not like one standard, I would say. Yeah.
And I think more than that, I wanted to touch upon before also, because people have been asking, about the transliteration and the way you transliterate it, especially when you talk about Torah reading. If you could just mention the other letters that, like the ayin or the.
Yes. So I made a distinction between Aleph and Ayin. So Aleph just has like a little, how would I say it? Like a slanted dash or accent, and then the Ayin has an apostrophe. So whenever you have these letters, if you're paying attention, you will know whether it's Aleph or Ayin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
About the different ta'amim, they've been doing studies, scholars, musicologists in Israel have been working on this for many, many years, including with computer analysis. Right. So if you go to the Jewish Music Research Center of Israel to their website and look it up. I mean, I don't have anything right at hand, but you should be able to find, was it Susan Cooper who was looking for that?
Yeah.
You should be able to find some information about it. And in terms of instrumentalists, someone in the chat mentioned it. I just wanted to mention that in Yiddish song, and it's relevant not because it's Yiddish, but because of the technique, they've been teaching workshops in instrumentals where if there's a song involved, whether it's a religious song or whether it's a secular song, to get the feeling of how to play it on the instrument, you first really sing it and you really internalize it. And then you take what you've sung and translate it into your wind or string instrument. And I found, just even as a folk singer, that works. And there are languages, there like Slavic languages in when I was working with music in the Balkans, where you actually say, I sing this on an instrument. You don't say, I play it on an instrument. You say, I sing it on an instrument. So for instrumentalists, it's actually just as important. And again, you're a jazz musician besides all your accomplishments in the Jewish music world, so you know this too. You've got to have the melody inside you, and if it's a song, even if it's a wordless nigun, in Ashkenazi tradition, you have to have that song inside you, I think, to really make it come out through the instrument. So it's the same thing in terms of notation.
Yes,
I
I
think.
agree totally. Internalize the music and use the instrument as your voice. That's what it is.
Can we take one more question? I see Nicole has her hand up, and then we'll let everybody go.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
I just wanted to know for those texts, they are like a text, you chose a text here and there, or you just put together different texts for the same thing? In other words, was it like, you took a text in one country for one thing, or how
Okay. So you're saying like taking a song from one country,
yeah,
and as opposed to taking various versions of
yes.
I would say I took one. So in the case of like the Balkans and the Levant, the music that's in Judeo Spanish, I took the version of either Greece or Turkey, but not
Okay.
both. And there
So
are
is
different
it-
ways of writing, and there are
Right.
variations as well.
So is it in your book, like it says this one is from this, I took it from there, or?
No, I didn't
No.
put that.
You
I
didn't put it,
I didn't
okay,
put the different where it comes from. No.
okay,
But that's a good suggestion.
It is.
yeah.
That's a good suggestion. Thank you so much for that question.
And then the other thing is it, which one is like the oldest one in your book?
I think Judith might be able to answer that because she's a musicologist and I'm not.
Okay,
We can't, because these melodies aren't usually written down, we can't really date them. So, the best we can do is say that, at the end of the 19th century and this or that publication, this or that tune was already sung more or less this way, or recordings begin, in Greece and Turkey. We had the recording industry by 1906 already, but we can't really say a lot before that.
but that's for the musical part, but for the
music.
text, for the text part.
The text.
Text.
There you go, Ronnie, Yonatan.
For the text, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about that in terms of the text, but if I just look through the book right now, I would say the Shabbat songs, which all Jews are singing for Shabbat, which were written in the medieval time period, may be the oldest. So we're talking about 12th and 13th century Spain.
Okay, great. Nice.
Like
Thank you.
Yadid Nefesh, Kiesh Mera Shabbat, Derori Kera, Yaribon Alam. I think these are the oldest ones.
Drori Kra would be the oldest probably in there because it's Dunash. I mean, that's
That's
Dori
right.
Kra
Dune, I
is-
don't know,
is
but the
very
words, I
old.
mean, that's that's old. That's 10th century.
Right.
And then,
Which I want.
Dror Yikra, the words of Dror Yikra are very old. They're 10th century by Dunash ibn Labrad, and it's got, countless different melodies
Yes.
over the centuries. But the words
right.
themselves are
Even the Beach Boys.
And Beatles.
And then I have a question about the Caribs. So which countries you talking about? The Dominican Republic and where else in the Caribbean?
Dominican Republic, Curacao, Suriname. So that's considered like Western Caribbean. Yeah.
Okay. Cuba, no.
Cuba, I didn't have, well, from Cuba, I learned a lot of the Judeo-Spanish music because in Cuba, many Jews from Turkey went there. And so a lot of those Jews came to Miami. So I learned this music from Turkey by way of Cuba.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I do want to say thank you once again. I think everybody, unfortunately, not everybody opens their cameras. We should really make sure more people accept being the panelists and come on the cameras, because it was a nice group here today. And thank you everybody for participating and your questions and your comments. And I definitely think
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
I would look-
Muchos
Shana
años.
Tova
Tova
to everybody.
Tova, everybody.
Have a great rest of your day, everyone, wherever you are.
Thank you, Toda.
Thank you.
Yehonatan, it's always great to see your smile.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Good to see you again. Hope to see you soon.
Yes.